Hey, everybody, welcome to another episode of CNC Q A Podcast. It's a little nippy out here, so I got me some coffee. And let me go ahead and bring in my sidekick here. Where are we at? There we go. Got
What's going on, sir?
got my buddy Ryan here helping me out. Paul's got other things going on tonight, so he's not going to be with us again tonight, but I'm sure he'll be back in here eventually.
Doc is pay.
Yeah. uh, anyway, tonight we're going to be talking a little bit about some GRBL settings. If you follow my channel, those of you that do, both of you, um, I did a video, I don't know, quite a while back called 3 Things That You Can Do to get a little more out of your NEMA Labs machines. And one of those 3 things that I talk about was don't be afraid to experiment with the GRBL settings. But we're gonna talk about those a little bit tonight, and how to be confident in changing your settings and not screwing up where you have to go back and hit reset all. So we'll talk about that a little bit tonight. But before we do, I want my buddy Ryan to talk about his Saturday night gig.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the good old making it up as we go. I think we're on, I think it's episode 80 this week. We're talking about the latest in CNC, lasers, and 3D printing stuff, videos, and all that hootenanny. That's the word of the week is hootenanny. So come on, join us, have a good time. We'll chat and whatever. So thank you.
Okay. Well, I was going to change it so that we're bigger like this, but I don't have a scene set up, so I'm just going with the dynamic scene to do that. But anyway, yeah, we're going to talk about some GRBL settings. And if one thing I wanted to remind folks, and I don't mention this all the time, half the time I forget to put the screen up here for the NEMA Labs Facebook page. It's right here. You can use that QR code and go join the NEMA Lab CNC user group.
Yeah.
So
I see them out in the chat. Hi, Michael.
I usually forget to show that, but anyway, I wanted to let's see if I can. I'm kind of winging it here tonight. Let's see.
Starburst is an underrated candy.
Starburst.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I'm chewing on.
Okay. Let's see. I'm gonna add this over here. Okay. So this is the. Well, I don't know how well this is going to work. I'll just do it like this. This is a NEMA Labs CNC users group. They're on Facebook. And it's one of the things I wanted to point out is I have, and I bet you a lot of people don't even know it's there, especially the newer members of the group. But when you go to one of these, and it's true with any Facebook group, you've got, everybody's usually looking at this part, the discussion part right here. But there's, other things, events, media, and over here in the files section, and I'm going to click on that. You'll notice there's only one file. Nobody else has put any files in there. But what this is, something I put in there quite a while ago. And it's the GRBL settings that I use for at the time, it was just for the NBX 5040 because that's the only one I had. And then I've since got a 6040 as well. But the GRBL settings are basically the same for both machines. The only difference is when you're setting the table size, it would be 600 for the 6040 and 500 for the 5040. So yeah, the max travel is what that setting is for. But anyway, I wanted to show folks that this is where this is at. And in fact, I'm going to go ahead and download this because I don't know that I have this on this computer out here. But I wanted to take a look here. Let's see if I can move this over here. This is basically what it is. And I think after I uploaded this, I think there is one mistake, and I'll point it out here. Right here where it says $130, it says X acceleration. That should actually be X max travel. I got a little carried away with the copy and paste, looks like. So, if you do download this, just cross that out and put X max travel. And here you can see it's 500 if you're running a 5040, 600 if you're running the 6040. But these are some settings that I've used and they've worked pretty well. And one thing I wanted to talk about is, and I would encourage anybody to download this. But over here, I have one that I've already got printed out right here in my hand. But what I did is I came over here right above this last column and I just wrote default. And then before I changed anything, I went through and looked up each setting and wrote down what the default setting is. So if you do download this and want to try to tweak your settings a little bit to get some quicker cycle times and that kind of stuff, maybe just get it to run smoother in general. Make sure you know what the default settings are. I mean, you can always go back and hit the reset all, but it's a whole lot easier if you just have, just like when you're doing your zero, your machine zero. I always say write it down. That way you can always go back to it just in case the computer doesn't remember it like it's supposed to. So, put the default settings in there. But I thought we would go over some of these. There's not really a whole lot of them that I changed.
On the Nemo Labs machines, how do you get to where you can change the settings?
There is.
Where are you doing that at?
Okay, well, I'll show that here in just a second. I'll get one of the cameras set up. You can do it with the stock offline controller, or you can do it with the newer offline controller, which is what I have used, what I'm using with these machines. Or if you're using the G Sender by CNC Labs, that I highly recommend if you're going to use a computer with and have it connected with a computer, you can change them with that. And we'll go through some of that. I don't have, let's see, let me go ahead and open that up. I don't have it connected to any of these machines, but I probably can here. I've probably got a cable here somewhere. Yeah, we'll just go ahead and show that. So I will connect the 5040 using that method. And then we'll do the 6040 using the offline controller.
Sounds good.
If I can get this in. There we go. Let me get it turned on. All right. Okay. So well, I guess we'll go ahead and do this first because on the right here, let's see. See, here's where you do it in the G-Sender software, and it's really nice. They've done a good job. So you can see all of these settings that are showing in here. And what's nice about this is it kind of gives you an explanation of what they are so you know what you're changing. But for example, if you want it to report in inches instead of millimeters, that's $13. So you would just enable this and then it would come up. Like if I turn that, it'll say apply new settings. I'm not going to apply that because I want to leave it the way it is. But anything you change on here, it you can do it right here through this software. Now, I don't know if you can do it with any of the other softwares like Universal G-Code Sender or that. I don't think you can. And that's another reason why I like the software from CNC Labs, G-Sender, because it is really, to me, it's the cream of the crop when it comes to software to run a GRBL machine. But
That's a really nice GUI.
Yeah, it just makes everything really easy.
Yeah.
To do it. So I'm scrolling down through here. So yeah, here you can see that this says x-axis maximum travel is set for 500 by 400, which is because that I just now hooked this one up to the 5040. So any of those you can change right here, like I said, and then that'll pop up and you just apply the settings. And of course, I don't have this name. It's got a long mill, but it's not a long mill. It's connected to the 5040. But that is an easy way to do. Yeah, there we go. We'll get this back over here. That's an easy way to change the settings. Now, let me see if I can. Let's see if I can get a camera. We'll try this one. Let's see if I can get it set up here.
In the chat, I have a link to a nice pocket guide of all the GRBL settings and all that for anybody that doesn't have.
Oh, sweet! I've actually got that on this computer too. I'm not sure which. I think it might be SaneSmart that put that out. I'm not sure.
The one I like it. Oh, I just saw that I screwed up a piece of it, but it's a from DIYmachining.com.
Oh, okay.
I forgot to put an extra W in there. So, but let's see here.
Okay, let me see if I've got this.
See if I can fix it.
Okay, yeah, I think we might be able to work with this. Yeah, I think that might work. Got a little bit of a glare, but
there we go.
Let me turn this light off here for a second. That's probably putting the glare's coming from somewhere else, looks like. All right, but anyway, if you want to change it using this offline controller, you can go to this set here, and you've got some of the basic stuff right here. This is how you would set your probe height, your spindle max speed, and all that. And then the other thing is If you go to, wait a minute, where is it? I don't remember which page it's on here. Here we go. If you go to the MDI page, and you can see all the dollar things scrolling past there. So if you want to, like it's got dollar, dollar. So if you hit send, it will put all of these on here. And you can go previous. So there it's starting out with $2, $3, so on and so forth, all the way down. And then you hit next to go to the bottom half of it and see those. So if you want to change something, you can read this, and it's a little more difficult trying to do it here, especially for an old fart like me, because it's much smaller print. It's easier to do it using that software that I just showed. But let's say we want to go to, let's go to $1.13. We can hit enter. Oh, it gave me an error. Okay, so let's go $1.13 equals, let's see, if I put
1 is for inches, 0 is for millimeters.
one is, okay, that's why I couldn't remember which one's which. All right, so let's put
Yep.
13 equals 1, and then hit send. And now it says $1.13 equal 1, so it says okay. So now if we come over here, you can already see that this Z has changed. So if I home this machine now, you can see that the DROs over here are all in inches now.
Yep. This is Mako Shark CNC. Yeah, Dave keeps all of his stuff in metric for the CNC stuff, but that's how you change it to inches if you want inches.
Yeah, I've been trying to keep everything in metric out here because I found that I use metric a lot more now than I used to. Not just with these two machines, but with 3D printing. You know, it seems like everything wants to be in metric when you put it in the slicer. So it's just kind of easier to do that. Okay, so now let me come back here, and we'll come back and change this one back to 0. Hit enter, and then of course you see it here. You got to hit send again for it to kick in, and now you can see the DROs change back to millimeters.
Ta-da!
Okay, so that's how you would do it with the um, offline controller, and it's basically the same when you're using the stock one, which it's this little one here. You just use the stylus and go into settings and basically do the same thing that I just did uh, with that larger screen offline controller. But a couple of the things that, if you get a machine, you'll notice right off the stock settings are very conservative as far as the speed, that you can get it to go and all that. So, I'm sure they keep them very conservative like that for a reason. They don't want people to, go running into the side and stuff like that, which, if you're not, if you're brand new and not familiar with CNC stuff, it's easy to do that. So, but once you get a little time under your belt and you want to start running things and getting a little bit faster cycle times, um, I'm looking here to see what some of the things I've changed. I think most of the things that I changed was the
Acceleration, I think.
acceleration. For example, $1.20 is the X acceleration. The default setting, I believe, was 50. Well, I think it's 50 for X, Y, and Z. I've got it for 300 on the X. I've changed it to, I think, 200 for the Y, and then 100 for the Z. Or I've actually got penciled in 150. I'm not sure what, I'd have to look to see what I got, because I've changed them back and forth. Even the A acceleration, the default value was 50, and I've doubled that to 100. And then, of course, the other things that I've changed is the max rate. And I think, NEMA Labs, I think, even says on their website that the max rate is 4,800 millimeters per minute, which, when you do the math, that's about 189 inches a minute, give or take, which is pretty fast for these. No, no bigger these machines are. You do 189 inches a minute. It don't take long to get from one side to the other.
Yeah.
But in order to get that, you're going to have to change some of these settings, because the default setting was 3,000 for the X max rate, 3,000 for the Y max rate, and I mean, pull my calculator up here, see what that would be.
I think the technical term is not as fast.
Yeah, about 118, which still isn't bad.
Yeah.
But again, 189 is better. Now, you may not try to max it out, but I put 4,800 as the max rate, just so I know I'm hitting whatever that NEMA Lab says it'll go. But normally I do right around 150, which is I forget what 37 something. I don't remember. I got to do my math here. 3810. Yeah, 3810 is about 150. So that's usually what I set up in my Vector VCarve software, and that's a good speed. It can handle that, and even the Z, the default was, I think, 1,500 is what I have wrote down here, and I've even changed that to 4,800. Of course, the Z, it's going such a short distance, you don't really have time to get it going that fast before it has to stop again. So, but those are just some of the things that you could change to try to get some improved performance out of your machine. But like I said, the main thing I wanted to talk about is, it's easy for me to go, oh, yeah, if you change this, but be smart about doing it. Like I said, if you haven't already got a list of these, go to the file section of the NEMA Labs group, download that, print it out, have you copy. I mean, you don't have to print it, but I like to print it so I can write it on. I got all kinds of little notes and stuff on mine. And then go through and write your default settings down before, just looking at them. Don't change anything. And another thing, and I've always preached this, whether it be something you're trying to troubleshoot or whatever, when you change something, change one thing at a time. Make sure when you change something, just one thing, and then that way when you go to check it, you can, because if it's not the right thing or it's doing something really crazy and you change 5 things, you're like,
Yeah.
okay, well, which one was it that made it go crazy? Just change one thing at a time. Test it. If that works, then go back and change your other one. Change another one. And just do one little thing at a time. Another thing that you can do that maybe some new people might not know, if you've been running a GRBL machine for a while, you probably know this, but when I home these machines, they home to the front left. That's what it is. That's the stock setting. But you can really home it anywhere you want to. You could home it to the front right. You can home it to the back right. You can home it to the back left. You can home it wherever you want to. You just have to put the right number in. Now, that setting on here is $1.23. And by default, the setting is number 3. So number 3 is the left front. Now, if I come back and I look at this, let me bring this back up. This is that G sender again. So if we come to the $1.23, which is right here, it says homing searches for switch in a positive direction, set access bit, blah, 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 to search in the negative direction. Okay, well, now this doesn't show that I've got this set to 3, but that is what it's set because I've got the X to go to, well, this is to turn on the invert. So I've got the X turned on and the Y turned on. So when it homes, it's going to try to go back in the negative direction. But you notice the Z is not turned on because you don't want it to go in the negative direction. You don't want it to go down and plow into the machine surface. You want it to go up because that's where the homing switch is on it. So you could change these. It's easier to me to put the number in, but here you don't even have to know the number. You can just look here and go, okay, I want the X to go in the positive direction, so I'm going to turn the invert off. And then if I want the Y to go to the invert, if I turn both of these off like this, now if I save these settings, it's now going to go, the Z is going to go up, but the Y and the X are both going to go in a positive direction. So it would go to the back right corner. And I think, I know if I sure as I tell you, I'll probably screw it up, but 3 is front left. I think 0 is, I think that's what back right is, but I'm not sure. But anyway, it's 0, 1, 2, and 3 is what you put in there to go different places.
Yeah, there's actually 7 different settings on that one, or 8 actually. Yeah, 0 through 7. Kind of crazy.
Okay. Well, somewhere does it say in that guide that you had?
It shows the table of the what the setting values equal out, but it doesn't tell you where it homes to.
Because I think,
Because number 3, $3 is the access direction, so you could switch that. If you made that change, then it changes all the ones for the top above that anyway.
yeah, but if you change the axis direction, that doesn't change the way that it homes, right? I mean, you're changing that if you have like wires mixed up or something, and you hit you hit X plus on your controller, but it moves to the left and goes in a negative direction. That's when you would change that setting,
Right.
right?
I believe so.
You don't seem too sure.
I don't mess with them.
Let's see here. I'm looking for that.
I wired mine all up the same. So
Where is that? I'm trying to see where I had that because I had a 5040. Well, I thought I had it in here somewhere, but I don't see it. Yeah, I don't see it there. But anyway, you can change your homing to wherever it goes. Now, what you were talking about, Ryan, see, this is what I'm talking about. The step
Yep.
direction invert.
Yep.
That's if you move your keys or your buttons to move it in a positive direction, and it doesn't go in positive and it goes the other way, that's when you'd want to change this one.
Yep.
You can also turn your soft limits. I don't use the soft limits, but you could put those in and enable those. Hard limits, uh, you could turn those on. Homing cycle, you could actually just turn your homing cycle off if you don't have limit switches uh, on a machine. You can just turn those off and do it that way. But yeah, the G Center is really nice. If you're going to use the software, I would recommend using that one compared to any of the others. Let's see. We got any questions over there? I hadn't even been looking at
Nope.
the. Okay. Oh, I see. Yeah, Mako Shark says looks like all metric. Yeah, that's. I think the G Sender folks like their metric stuff too. I think that's how it typically is from by default. But you can, if you prefer inches, you can change it around to get the inches. Let's see if I can turn this one off now. All right. Well, that's kind of short and sweet. There's really not much to talk about. Like I said, the there's really not a whole lot of GRBL settings that I would recommend you changing. Um, because usually they're pretty much set up the way they need to be from the manufacturer. But a lot of times, um, and we're talking about NEMA Labs tonight, but SainSmart, Genmitsu, pretty much all of them that I've used do the same thing. When you fire it up and go, they have everything kind of crawling really slow. Um, and I'm sure they do that for a reason so that people can.
Oh, you're being evacuated for the fires.
Wow, that was something about a major crash somewhere.
Oh yeah.
Well, I don't know where it went now because I hit to shut the noise off, it went away. So I don't know where it puts it. But yeah, it said something about a major crash on probably on 75, not far from here.
Wow.
Those people can't drive, in the daytime, much less at night. So
Man.
all right, so nobody's got any questions. Everybody knows how to do all this stuff, so we don't have to worry about anything. But yeah, if you haven't, like I said, even if you don't want to use my settings, it's still a good idea to, you can go download my list and get a list and then just write down what yours are just so you'll know. Like I said, you should be able to go to your offline controller, whether it be the one like back here, the larger screen, or the little bitty stock controller, and reset all of them. So if you get something and you got stuff all screwed up, um, it doesn't work at all. I got some stuff recently. Uh, I get a lot of Amazon return stuff. NEMA Labs has them send it to me, and I got a controller and a pendant that, the customer was saying didn't work at all and all that. And the settings had been changed. And don't ask me how this person changed it that way, but they had the main. Let's see if I can find it on here. It's not there. I was using the little stock thing, but it had the jog speed. It had been changed to 0 and then saved. Well, of course, when you go to use the pendant, it's not going to do anything if it's saved. The jog speed saved to 0.
Yeah.
And that's all it was. So, unfortunately, the things I got were kind of beat up, so they're not really resellable because of the condition they were in. But once I tinkered around with them, they both worked fine. There wasn't nothing wrong with either one of them. So
Sean says I-75 in Henry County shut down in both directions after a tanker truck fire.
okay, I saw it said something about GDOT, which is Georgia Department of Transportation. So, and I figured it's I-75 because I said I'm on the other side of 75. Like if you go to Home Depot and Lowe's and all that, they're right off of I-75. But when you get off I-75 and start coming to the town, the little town square and all that, I'm even on the other side of that. So I'm on the good side of McDonald's, what I like to say. So,
I'm nodding and saying, "Oh yeah, like I know where that's at."
yeah.
JR's out there in the chat now.
Hey JR, hope you're doing well. Well, I guess if we don't have any questions, I guess we'll go ahead and wrap this up. Like I said, I didn't really have a lot. I didn't know how long it would take me to talk about this, and I didn't know how many questions there might be. But another one that you might have a chance to use is $6. It says invert your probe pin. I haven't run across this because every touch probe I've done, they've always worked right off the bat. But if you get one and it's backwards, for some reason it's wired backwards or whatever, you can change that one. It'll be either 1 or 0. I don't think. Another one you might change maybe, and that's the homing feed rate. So like when you hit the home button, if you think it's moving too slow, you can always speed that up. You just don't want to get it too much faster because you do want it to home slow, because you got to remember when that thing is coming, it's going to trip the switch and then it's going to back up till it comes off. So if you've got it going too fast, it's going to be less accurate setting your 0. So you want that to be pretty slow so it doesn't just bash into that switch. You want it to trip the switch and then it will back off until it's just off the switch. And then I think there's a setting. Most of these I don't have memorized, by the way. Okay, homing pull off, $1.27. The default is 1, which in this case is 1 millimeter. So that means it's going to home, trip the switch, then back up and come off the switch 1 millimeter. So again, if you got it going real slow, it's going to be pretty accurate because it's doing everything real slow. But if you got it going too fast, well, then it may affect the accuracy a little bit. So
Kenneth has a question for us. Do you change settings differently for a rotary?
The only setting that you need to change, I saw it over here. Let me add this back to the thing here. It was right here. On this G sender, it's just 103, and it says custom EEPROM field 222.2222. But if you look on the offline controller or the 7-inch screen offline controller, it will be $103, and it says A axis steps per unit, or steps per is what it says. So I think mine was already set, but they tell you in the manual when you get the rotary axis to check that setting and make sure that that's what it's set at, 222.2222. And that will be the correct setting to work with the Nemo Labs rotary axis.
Sweet. Thank you,
So,
Kenneth.
yeah, that's a good question. And like I said, I remember when I first got the rotary axis, and I read the manual, and it said to in fact, let me see if I got what I did with my rotary axis manual. Oh, here it is. I think. I think this is it. Somewhere in here, it tells you to make sure that that's setting at 103. Oh, I take that. No, this isn't the rotary axis. This is the larger offline controller. Yeah, anywhere, somewhere around here, I've got the rotary axis manual. Ah, here it is. Ta-da. Right underneath all my stuff here.
Ken says chop the settings in half like the rotary plate.
Yeah, right. Actually, right here on the first page, it says the machine overview, and then it lists the different, the specs and the different things. And then number 6 says the pulse equivalent $103 equals 222.222. So it's telling you right there. And then I think it also shows somewhere on back in here in the manual, it tells you to check that number because that's the steps per unit. So if you don't have that set correctly, yeah, here it is. It's on this page. It's on page 18 of the rotary axis manual. It says find out whether dollar.
Another wreck.
All lanes blocked.
Yeah,
What a
that's
mess.
a tough wreck.
It says find out whether $103 command values are equal to 222.222, like the figure below. If not, enter $103 equals 222.222 in the dialog box below, and then click save. So yeah, mine, when I went to check it, it was already set correctly straight from the manufacturer, so I didn't have to worry with it. But always good to check that because you certainly don't want to start a long rotary axis project and find out that it was at the wrong steps per unit, because
Yeah.
it's not going to be anywhere close to good if it's not set up right. So, I keep thinking about that crash. We had that snow last Friday morning, but it's long gone on the interstate. So there's a few little patches around here that I saw. There's one out there by my Explorer where I guess it's in the shade or something. It's a little small patch where there's still some snow here 5 days later.
Really?
But yeah, it hadn't got very warm.
No, no, not here either. But it's rather surprising that you're that far south and it's still there.
Yeah, it's and I know the neighbors a couple of doors down. They got out there and built a snowman, so their whole yard's melted except the snowman's. He's about that tall right now. But yeah, so that shouldn't be any kind of a factor on the I-75 over there. But you know how it is when a lot of times when them things crash, people they don't slow down. They just pile right on into them.
Yep.
Which sounds like that might be what happened if they got the whole I-75, all lanes blocked.
Yeah.
And if there's not a wreck on the other side, whichever side, I don't remember whether it was southbound or northbound, there will be soon because people drive.
Oh yeah,
rubbernecking, looking, and next thing you know, they run into somebody. So
yeah.
But anyway, hopefully that'll get cleaned up pretty quick, and nobody was hurt when that happens. But all right, well, we've been at it almost an hour here. I don't see any more questions or anything. Appreciate everybody joining in tonight.
Yeah.
And if you've got a little machine that, again, I'm talking about the NEMA Labs machines, but all this really applies to any machine that's using a GRBL controller. So, because they're all pretty much the same. The settings are going to be the same dollar number as what I've talked about tonight. So, but yeah, if you haven't already got your copy of those, or if you're not a member in the NEMA Labs group and don't have a NEMA Lab, so you don't want to get in that group, you can go to the link that Ryan put on there. I never did find the one I was looking for. But if you just Google GRBL settings, you'll see some of these quick guides pop up.
Oh yeah.
And they kind of give you a little description, kind of like that software over here did, that tell you what that number changes when you change the setting. So, all right, well, I guess we're going to get out of here. As always, let me mention that if you do want to go to the NEMA Labs website and check out something, I have a discount code that's going across the bottom of the screen there, and it's also in the link. There's a link down below, so you can click that, use that link, and get 10% off your whole purchase from the NEMA Labs website. So
nice.
Feel free to use that code. I guess that's about it. I noticed my buddy Sean today. I saw him out there in the chat too. He was playing around getting the giveaway tool that EVMux has, and it looks like they've got it figured out. I tried to do some giveaways, and using that giveaway tool they had wasn't very successful. It locked up and wasn't working, but looks like they might have the bugs worked out of it now. So we may have to start thinking about doing some more giveaways. My plan was to give away some Jenny bits and stuff. So we'll have to see what we can do about that. So anyhow, we're going to get ready to get out of here, and thank y'all for watching. Ryan, you got any parting words or anything?
Go Redskins.
Yes. Go Redskins. They played awesome last whatever it was. What day was Saturday, Sunday, whatever day it was.
No, it was Sunday night. Yeah, this week they play on Saturday.
Yeah,
that Jaden Daniels he's a special cat.
He is.
Oof.
I'm really rooting for them. I hope that they're my team now, I guess, because Falcons. Well, let's not even talk about the Falcons. They're right up there with the Bears and the Cowboys and all those other losers. So, but yeah, I'm quickly becoming a Jaden Daniels fan because he's the real deal. Seems like so.
Yeah.
All right. Well, anyway, we will get out of here. Thanks everybody for hanging around. If you got any questions, if you're watching this thing after it's live on the replay and you have a question, be sure and put it in the comments down below. I always see those when they pop up, and I'll come back and try to answer them. And until then, we'll see you on the next one, I guess. Good night, everybody.
Peace out.